Hello friends, welcome to Affairs Cloud. We learn to lead. My name is Vikas. In this video friends, we'll be discussing some of the most important current affairs of the topic National Affairs of May month. The video will be very helpful to you. So do watch the video till the end, hit the like button and share the link of this video with your friends. So friends, we'll start with our video, but before that we have something important to tell you about. We have an app by the name Carriers Cloud which you can go and download through the Play Store. Once you have downloaded the app, you will open the app and you'll see this type of screen. In this, you can go and log in with your Google account, that is your Gmail ID. Then once you have logged in, then you will be moved to this page where you can see a window. If you click on the current affairs section here, then you will be moved to this page. Now this is where magic happens. This is the course where there are two courses provided by us. First, you should know it is of 1 year and 2 years. So choose your course accordingly. What we are providing and what is the reason behind that you should purchase course of current affairs from us, and what are the important details about it. First thing, you should know that we provide you current affairs in both English and Hindi. Okay. Also, we provide you here current affairs daily. PDFs are provided daily. The important factor here to remember is we are providing PDF to you daily. Okay, that contains question answers of the daily current affairs. They are explained in a much easy way where you can grasp the knowledge and do your revision. Okay, apart from that, we provide you with question answers. Then on every day we provide you 20 question answers quiz, daily 20 questions quiz. So imagine how much it will benefit you in your preparation. Then we provide you same thing for weekly. In weekly we take a quiz of 50 questions. Then question answers of week, we provide you a book. PDF is provided you weekly of the compiled questions of the whole week. Similarly for monthly also, ebook is given, your quizzes are taken, question answers PDF. Then apart from it, we also help you to prepare for banking papers. All the banking exams you can go refer to our videos and our courses here. You can see here we provide you banking and economic quiz of 157 questions. Okay, then topic wise PDFs are covered. As you can see, we are making videos on indexes and reports, important days, the books and authors, all the events that are taking place in individual months. So these PDFs are provided to you and they will help you a lot in your preparation for journal awareness, your journal studies, as well as for current affairs. Then you can see we also provide you current affairs for state-wise current affairs are provided to you. Apart from this, I have a gift for all of my friends here. If you use my code Vikas10, you will be getting a straight 10% discount on the purchase you make. So when you are about to check out and do the payment, just before the payment, you will be getting an option to use the promo code. There you can put the Vikas10, the code, and you will be getting an extra 10% discount on the total purchase you make there. So let's start with our video. The first news is related to TriFed. TriFed has joined hands with the Link Fund to work towards the tribal development, that is for the development of the tribes and in the rural areas. TriFed, that is your Tribal Cooperative Market Development Federation of India, has joined hand with whom they have joined hand, or you can say they have signed an MOU, that is Memorandum of Understanding, with the Link Fund to work towards the tribal development. If we look at the data, TriFed has which is the commercial wing of the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, that is MOTA, has signed an MOU with the Link Fund and philanthropic operational foundation for the empowerment of tribals. Alright, the MOU was signed by Praveer Krishna, who is the managing director of TriFed, and Tony Kalm, who is the CEO and the co-founder of the Link Fund. The agreement has been signed for a project titled Sustainable Livelihoods for the Tribal Households in India. If we look at the key points, this aims to empower tribals by providing support to them for increasing value addition in their produce and products. The technology interventions of the Link Fund will help in achieving efficiency in value addition for minor forest produces, produces and craft diversification, skill training, and enhancement of the value additions in the MFCs, that is your minus forest producers. They will also work to create women-centered infrastructure and innovation and entrepreneurship. An important aspect of the partnership will be the development of the market of the NTFP, that is your non-timber forest product. So who will be signing an MOU with the TriFed? It is your The Link Foundation, and they will helping towards the development and the advancement of the the tribal people. All right, friends. Next data you need to remember is that Indian crude oil production has fell by 5% and the natural gas production has fell by 8% in the fiscal year 2021. And this report was given by whom? This was given by the Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. The crude oil production of India fell by 5% to 30.5 million tons in fiscal year 21 from 32.17 million tons in 19 to 20. All right, remember this. Next we'll be talking about, and mark this is important, Samudra Setu 2. All right, we earlier this year we saw Samudra Setu 1, that was bringing the Indians back from the other countries during the lockdown. So that was Samudra Setu, and now the second edition or the second phase of Samudra Setu 2 has been now launched. All right, it was launched by whom? It was launched by Indian Navy has launched Samudra Setu 2, and the reason for launching this Samudra Setu 2 is for the shipment of oxygen filled containers to India. If we look at the data, Indian Navy has launched Operation Samudra Setu 2 for the shipment of liquid oxygen filled cryogenic containers and associated medical equipments to India from various other countries. For this operation, Indian Navy deployed 7 Indian naval ships, that is INS Kolkata, INS Kochi, INS Talwar, INS Tabar, INS Trikand, INS Jalashwa and INS Airavat. These are the 7 naval ships that has been deployed by Indian Navy for the Operation Samudra Setu 2. It is the part of ongoing national mission for meeting oxygen requirements in India. The demand for oxygen has increased in India due to COVID-19. If we talk about the first batch, INS Kolkata and Talwar were deployed in the Persian Gulf, has entered the port of Manama, Bahrain for transporting 40 megatons of liquid oxygen to Mumbai, Maharashtra. INS Jalashwa is to en route to Bangkok, Thailand, and INS Airavat to Singapore for transporting oxygen. In the second batch of the ships comprising INS Kochi and INS Trakand and INS Tabar mission deployed in Arabian Sea have also been diverted to join the national effort. What was your Operation Samudra Setu? It was launched in the year 2020 as a part of Vande Bharat mission. Under the operation, Indian citizens were repatriated from Maldives, Sri Lanka and Iran who were left stranded due to COVID-19 outbreak. The operation was undertaken by the Indian Navy in coordination with the Ministry of External Affairs, Home Ministry, Health Ministry and other agencies of the center and state. If we talk about Indian Navy, who is CNS, that is your Chief of Naval Staff, he is Admiral Karambir Singh, and the integrated headquarters of the Ministry of Defence is in New Delhi of Navy. Alright, so this is your Samudra Setu 2 now. It was launched by Indian Navy and this is for procurement of the shipment of oxygen filled containers to India. Next we'll be talking about Indian Army has inaugurated the first solar energy harnessing plant of 56 kilovoltage ampere in North Sikkim. I repeat, who inaugurated this first solar energy harnessing plant of 56 kilovolt ampere in North Sikkim? It was inaugurated by Indian Navy, Army. All right. Now, the important things that you need to lay stress on, like who inaugurated? It was inaugurated by Indian Army. What is inaugurated by Indian Army in North Sikkim? First green solar energy harnessing plant. What is the power of that plant or how much energy it will be generating? It will be generating 56 kilowatt ampere. It is located in North Sikkim. All right. This plant will be using vanadium based battery technology and it is situated at an altitude of 16,000 feet. Next, the project has been completed in collaboration with IIT Mumbai, It was completed by a team from IIT Mumbai, which was led by Professor Prakash Ghosh and troops of Indian Army. Next, the project will benefit troops in forward areas and will be environment friendly. India has targeted 175 gigawatt of renewable energy by 2022. Do remember this target, because nowadays targets are also being asked in your exam. What is the target of India for the renewable energy? It is 175 gigawatt of energy, renewable energy, by 2022. And if you want to see the distribution, it is 100 gigawatt for solar, 60 gigawatt for wind, 10 gigawatt for bioenergy, 5 gigawatt for small hydro. All right, and Chief of Army Staff is General MM Narwane sir. Moving on. Next, we'll be talking about a French firm, Alstom delivers. I repeat, there is a French firm by the name Alstom, and it has delivered the 100th electric locomotive to railways. I repeat, Alstom is the name of the company and it is a French firm that has delivered the 100th electric locomotive to the railway of India. All right, Alstom, it is a French company, all right, that is a multinational rolling stock manufacturer, successfully manufactured and has delivered the 100th electric locomotive to the Indian Railways. It is a part of the 3.5 billion euro or 25,000 crore rupees during the time of signing contract signed between the Ministry of Railways India and Alstom in 2015 for the delivery of 800 fully electric high powered double section locomotives of 12,000 horsepower. It is the largest foreign direct investment project in the Indian railway sector. The locomotives are manufactured at Madhepur plant in Bihar. The plant is India's largest integrated greenfield manufacturing facility. With this, India became the sixth country to produce the high horsepower locomotive indigenously. Here HP is your horsepower. All right. The 12,000 horsepower electric locomotives are the most powerful made in India electric locomotives. If we talk about Alstom, the chairman of board of directors and CEO is Henry Poupart Lafarge. Global headquarters is in France and Indian headquarters is in Bangalore, Karnataka. And where is the plant or where this locomotives are being built? They are being built in. Next we'll be talking about Nirmala Sitharaman ji. She has virtually inaugurated India's first 3D printed house at IIT Madras. Alright, that is in Chennai, Tamil Nadu. So, who inaugurated the India's first 3D printed house at IIT Madras? It is your Nirmala Sitharaman. Alright. Nirmala Sitharaman inaugurated India's first 3D printed house at IIT, that is your Indian Institute Technology Madras in Chennai, Tamil Nadu. The single-story home has built in just 5 days over an area of 600 square feet using concrete 3D printing. TVASTA, that is TV Asta Manufacturing Solution, a startup founded by IITM alumni in association with the Habitat for Humanity's Terwilliger Center for Innovation in the Shelter, built the 3D printed house. The 3D printed house would help to meet the deadline of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision of the Housing for All scheme in 2022. Alright, TV Asta Manufacturing was set up as a part of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs Asha Incubator. Do remember who inaugurated the first 3D printed house in India, that is located at IIT Madras in Tamil Nadu. It was inaugurated by Nirmala Sitharaman ji. Next, JSW Energy has signed a 540 megawatt wind power purchase agreement with the Solar Energy Corporation of India. Alright, JSW Energy is the name of the company that has signed a 540 megawatt wind power purchase agreement with the Solar Energy Corporation of India. Alright, do remember this. JSW Renewable Energy is the name of the company. The renewable energy wing of the JSW Energy has signed a power purchase agreement with the Solar Energy Corporation of India for supplying 540 megawatt out of the total awarded capacity of 810 megawatt of the blended wing power capacity. It is the single largest PPA for wind power capacity award to the company. JSW Renew Energy won the contract for 810 megawatt of blended wind power project in a competitive bidding done by SECI in September 2020. If we talk about the India's renewable energy target, India has set a target to raise the capacity of the installed renewable energy generation plants to 450 gigawatts by 2030. The current installed renewable energy generation capacity stands at 94 gigawatts. If we talk about JSW Energy, MD and CEO is Prashant Jain, headquarter is Mumbai, Maharashtra. And if we talk about Solar Energy Corporation of India, an central public sector undertaking CPSU under Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. Chairman and Managing Director are Jatindra Nath Saivan and head office is in New Delhi. So which organization or which company signed a wind power purchase agreement with the Solar Energy Corporation of India? It was JSW Energy. Moving on. Next is your NHAI, that is your National Highway Authority of India, is to become the nodal agency for civil and electrical work setting up in oxygen plant in the country. I repeat, NHAI, that is your National Highway Authority of India, is to become the nodal agency for the civil and electrical work setting up of oxygen plants in the country. If we look at the data, due to the shortage of medical due to the shortage of medical oxygen in the many state hospitals, Union Minister of Road Transport and Highway Nitin Gadkari has announced the installation of pressure swing absorption medical oxygen plants in various states. Around 581 sites have been identified by the government for setting up the additional PSA medical oxygen plants. The National Highways Authority of India will act as the nodal agency for executing civil and electrical works of the medical oxygen plant. The infrastructure construction was planned to complete on a war footing. Next we'll be talking about the first electric tractor in India that was tested at CFM TTI in Budni, Madhya Pradesh. Alright, so India's first ever electric tractor has been tested at the Central Farm Machinery Training and Testing Institute, that is in Budni, Madhya Pradesh. This is the new electric tractor will be more environmental friendly than other types of tractors. The Central Farm Machinery Training and Testing Institute works under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farm Welfares. The institute has received NABL certification of accreditation for CMVR test laboratory on 30th of March 2021. Confirmatory assessment body is a body that includes testing including medical laboratory, calibration laboratory, proficiency testing provider and certified reference material producer. So where was the first electric tractor in India tested? It was tested at CFM TTI. And where is this CFM TTI? It was in Madhya Pradesh. If the location is asked that where it was tested or the name of the state, then you need to know Madhya Pradesh. Moving on. Next is 5 oil and gas PSUs. They are Indian Oil Corporation, Bharat Petroleum Corporation, Hindustan Petroleum Corporation and Oil and Natural Gas Corporation, and your GAIL, that is your Gas Authority of India Limited, have signed a memorandum of understanding, that is your MOU, with Badrinath Utthan Charitable Trust for construction and redevelopment of Badrinath Dham in Badrinath, Uttarakhand as a spiritual smart hill town. Alright, so many questions. Spiritual smart hill town, which will be? It will be your Badrinath in Uttarakhand. First thing. Then 5 ONGC, that is your oil and natural gas public sector undertakings. There are 5 companies that have signed with Badrinath Utthan Charitable Trust. They are IOC, BPCL, Hindustan Petroleum Corporation Limited, ONGC and your GAIL. Alright, these are the 5 oil and gas public sectors that have signed an MOU with Badrinath Utthan Charitable Trust for the construction and redevelopment of Badrinath Dham, that is in Badrinath, Uttarakhand. Then, as per the MOUs, they will be spending around 100 crore rupees in the first phase of the various development activities. The redevelopment works are set to be completed in 3 years. Next, India, Israel and UAE have signed a maiden trilateral trade agreement. Alright, I repeat, India, Israel and UAE have signed a maiden trilateral trade agreement. All right. Israel's Ethiopia producing robotic solar cleaning tech in India for project in UAE. An Israel-based company, Ethiopia, is set to produce robotic solar cleaning technology in India for projects in the UAE. The project will take place through the Trilateral Cooperation Agreement between Israel, India, and UAE, which is the first of its kind between the three countries. Important thing, Ethiopia, it is an Israel based company and it is set to produce robotic solar cleaning technology in India. All right. Then the project will take place through trilateral cooperation agreement, and Israel, India, and UAE are it is the first of a kind trilateral cooperation between these three countries. The partnership has been initiated by the International Federation of Indo-Israel Chambers of Commerce. Israel and UAE have signed Abraham Accord, which marked the first public normalization of relations between UAE and Israel. The business potential of cooperative ventures among the three countries is expected to be 110 billion by 2030. If we talk about Ethiopia, co-founder and chairman is Eran Meller, CEO is Jean Schema, and headquarter is Tel Aviv, Israel. Basically, remember the headquarter is in Israel. All right, moving on. Next, 112,000 horsepower WAG 12B locomotive inducted in Indian Railways. All right, then it is your 100th 12,000 horsepower WAG locomotive. All right, 12B, and it has been inducted in the Indian Railways. Indian Railways has inducted the 100th 12,000 horsepower WAG 12B locomotive manufactured by Madhepur Electric Locomotive Private Limited, one of the India's largest integrated greenfield manufacturing facilities and produced under the Make in India program. The number of locomotive WAG 12B is 60,100. If we talk about WAG 12B, the locomotive has a design and a speed of 120 km per hour with twin bobo design having 25 tons. They can be tracked through GPS for its strategic use through embedded software. These WAG 12BE locomotives have already clocked over 4.8 million kilometers, hauling a wide range of commodities across 7 states and 2 union territories. Indian Railways has entered into procurement cum maintenance agreement with the Madhepur Electric Locomotive Private Limited. If we talk about the Minister of Railways, he is Piyush Goyal and the headquarters is in New Delhi. All right, so 112,000 horsepower WAG 12B locomotive has been inducted by the Indian Railways. Next, DOT, that is your Department of Telecommunication, has permitted TSP to conduct 5G trials in India. What is your TSP? TSP is your telecom service providers. All right. So Department of Telecommunications has permitted TSP, that is your telecom service providers, to conduct 5G trials in India. As you know, 5G is linked to the speed of internet. Earlier it was 3G, now 4G. Now we are testing the trials of 5G speed, that is the speed of the internet will be very fast. All right, including Bharti Airtel, Reliance Jio, Infocom, Vodafone Idea, MTNL to conduct the 5G trials in India. The TSPs have tied up with the original equipment manufacturers and technology providers like Ericsson, Nokia, Samsung and the C-Dot. These trials will be on a non-commercial basis. Next, we'll be talking about Operation Ko-Jeet that was launched by armed forces to fight COVID-19 in India. All right, the Indian Armed Forces has launched Operation Ko-Jeet to support anti-COVID-19 efforts of the country. The Lieutenant General Dr. Madhuri Kanitkar is monitoring the steps and working on the strategies to provide relief to COVID-19 patients. She is the third woman to become a 3-star general in the armed force behind Punita Arora. She was the first, and Padmavati Bandyopadhyay, she was the second. All right. Ko-Jeet stands for co-workers of all the three forces who will lastly obtain Jeet, that is your victory over the COVID-19. So Ko-Jeet, in this, who will be participate? It will be for all the three forces of India. All right. Then if we talk about OP Ko-Jeet, Operation, this is here is Operation Kojit. It aims to strengthen medical infrastructure and oxygen supply chains and to ensure mental well-being of people. The personnel of the army, the air force and the navy have been engaged to help restore oxygen supply chains, to set up COVID beds and to provide help to the civilian administration in its fight to control the pandemic. All right, so this is your Operation Kojit, in which all the three forces of India will be taking part, and this operation is to fight COVID-19 in India. And it has been monitored by whom? It is monitored by Lieutenant Governor Dr. Madhuri Kanitkar. Next we'll be talking about Niti Aayog and Mastercard has released a report on digitally inclusive Bharat. I repeat, a report was released on digitally inclusive Bharat by Niti Aayog and Mastercard. All right, now let's look at it. What is Niti Aayog? National Institution for Transforming India. And Mastercard has released a report titled Connected Commerce, Creating a Roadmap for a Digitally Inclusive Bharat. All right, then FTI Consulting was the research and the circulation partner. Don't remember this, that is not important. Important thing is Niti Aayog along with Mastercard have released this report on digitally inclusive Bharat. Then it identifies the challenges in the accelerating digital financial inclusion in India and providing recommendations for making digital services accessible to 1.3 billion citizens of India. The report was released by Dr. Rajiv Kumar, Vice Chairman of Niti Aayog, and other key persons. Important name, Dr. Rajiv Kumar, who is the Vice Chairman of Niti Aayog, released this report. Niti Aayog was the knowledge partner in the 5 roundtable discussions based on the which the report has been released. All right, and what is the name of the release? Connected Commerce, Creating a Roadmap for a Digitally Inclusive Bharat. Moving on. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has notified 48.32 square kilometer area around the Thane Creek Flamingo Sanctuary, that is in Thane, Maharashtra, as the economic sensitive zone. Important. All right. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. This is the ministry who has notified 48.32 square kilometer of area around the Thane Creek Flamingo Sanctuary, Flamingo Sanctuary, that is in Thane, Maharashtra, as the ECESZ, that is your economic sensitive zone. The 48.32 square kilometer notified area extends from 0 to 3.89 kilometer from the boundary of TCSF. This is your TCF is your Thane Creek Flamingo Sanctuary, which is spread across Mumbai, Thane and Navi Mumbai. ESZ, that is your Economic Special Zone, will act as a buffer zone for protected areas and reduce the development pressures around a wildlife sanctuary or national park. Economic Sensitive Zone is notified by Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change under the Environment Protection Act of 1986. So which sanctuary was the area around which sanctuary came in the economic sensitive zone? It is your Thane Creek Flamingo Sanctuary. This is located in Thane, Maharashtra. Then if we look at the key point, Thane Creek Flamingo Sanctuary lies along the western bank of the Thane Creek. It is the second maritime sanctuary of Maharashtra after Malwang Sanctuary, Sindhugad and in Maharashtra. It is home to 12 mangrove species, 39 categories of mangrove species, 167 species of birds like flamingos, 45 bird fishes and 59 species of butterflies, along with 67 insects and mammals like jackals, among others. If we talk about economic sensitive zone, these are the areas within the 10 kilometer around the protected areas, national park and wildlife sanctuaries. They act as a shock absorbers. They act as a shock absorbers to protected areas, wildlife and natural their wildlife sanctuaries. ESZ's areas are regulated by the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. All right, moving on. Next is Japan. UNDP India. UNDP is your United Nations Development Program. All right, so the government of Japan and the United Nations Development Project India have partnered to provide oxygen generation plants to the northeastern region in India. The entities will procure and install 8 pressure swings absorber oxygen generation plants in the states of Meghalaya, Nagaland, and Tripura. Important thing, who came together for this providing the oxygen supply to the northeastern states of India is the government of Japan and United Nations Development Program of India came together to provide oxygen generation plants where in the northeastern region of India. Next, MNRE is your Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, has announced new guidelines for implementation of CPSU scheme phase 2. CPSU is your central public sector undertaking. All right, let's look at the data. Ministry of New and Renewable Resources has released new guidelines for the implementation of central public sector undertaking scheme phase 2, that is government producer scheme. It has revised the maximum tariff and reduced the maximum possible viability gap funding under the scheme. The scheme aims to set up 12,000 megawatt of solar power projects which will be produced by the government producers. All right, then next news. Area of summer crops increased by 21.58% in 2021 in India. I repeat, area of cultivation of summer crops increased by 21.58% in 2021 from 2020. Summer crops were cultivated in 80.02 lakh hectares in 2021 as against 65.82 hectares in 2020. All right. Then the increase in the area of summer crops is mainly due to the sharp increase in the cultivation of pulses areas. Pulses were sowed in 17.75 lakh hectares in 2021 as against 10.49 lakh hectares in 2020, which is a rise of almost 70% in the cultivation area. Next we'll be talking about National Bamboo Mission has launched MIS module for strengthening agarbatti stick production. I repeat, National Bamboo Mission has launched MIS model, all right, for strengthening domestic agarbatti industry. So who launched it? It was launched by National Bamboo Mission, has launched MIS module, that is your Management Information System for strengthening the domestic agarbatti industry. The module will collect data on agarbatti stick production, location of stick making units, and availability of raw material, functioning of units, capacity, marketing, and etc. It will help in better linkage between the industry and production unit, thereby plunging all the information gaps. NBM, Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprises, Khadi and Village Industries Commission, that is KVIC, have come together to make India Atmanirbhar Bharat in the agarbatti sector. So who came together in making India independent in agarbatti sector is your Ministry of Small and Medium Enterprises, that is your MSME sector, and KVIC, that is your Khadi and Village Industries Commission. All right, next, if we talk about the National Bamboo Mission, what is National Bamboo Mission? This was restructured. National Bamboo Mission was launched in 2018-2019 with an outlay of 1,290 crore rupees for the 2 years. It aims to increase the area under bamboo plantation in non-forest. Just to let you know, to grow a bamboo plant, all right, it takes many years, all right, because the growth for the first few years is very slow, but after them the plant grows rapidly, all right. So, and we know bamboo is used in various products and it is a very useful plant. It comes under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Till now, National Bamboo Mission is implemented in 21 states, including 9 states of the northeastern region. Direct 50% subsidy is given to the farmers at rupees 1 lakh per hectare, that is 100% to the government agencies and also entrepreneurs for setting up various product development units, etc. Who is the chairman or who is the mission director of NBM? He is Chhavi Jha, and it comes under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Next we'll be talking about tribal people. Tribal Affairs Ministry have signed an MOU with Microsoft for digital transformation of the tribal schools. That means MOTA has signed an MOU. MOTA, that is your Ministry of Tribal Affairs, has signed an MOU with Microsoft All right, let's look at the data. Mota has virtually signed an MOU with Microsoft during the virtual event Empowering Youth for Success for digital transformation of tribal schools such as Eklavya Model Residential Schools, that is in ashram schools and other schools under Mota. All right, under the agreement, Microsoft will make artificial intelligence, that means the curriculum will be based on this artificial intelligence. All right, so under the agreement, Microsoft will make the artificial intelligence curriculum available to the tribal students in English as well as Hindi at all the EMRS schools. This is to ensure the inclusion and access. During the first phase of the program, 250 EMRS schools will be adopted by the Microsoft for this purpose. What is your EMRS? Eklavya Model Residential Schools. The main aim of the agreement is to build an inclusive skill-based economy. All right. Next, Jupitis developed the world's first private digital code for the dispute resolution. All right, and Jupitis is your startup. Jupiter's Justice Technologies, a Chandigarh-based startup, has developed world's first private digital code powered by blockchain and artificial intelligence to resolve disputes under the private justice system through alternative dispute resolution mechanism, that is your ADR. The platform is designed for private justice system, arbitration, conciliation, mediation and negotiation. It allows parties involved in the disputes to conduct arbitration, conciliation or mediation without the help of a administrating body. All right, so which startup developed it? It was developed by Jupiters. All right, and it is the world's first private digital code for dispute resolutions. Next, 6 places have been added to India's tentative list of UNESCO's World Heritage Site. What is UNESCO? UNESCO stands for United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. Then Minister of State Independent Charge for Cultural, who is he? He is Prahlad Singh Patel, has stated that 6 places have been added to the India's UNESCO list, and they are UNESCO's World Heritage Sites, and they are, let's me look at it first. The 6 important sites that are added in the UNESCO's World Heritage Site are Maratha Military Architecture, that is in Maharashtra, Temple of Kanchipuram, Tamil Nadu, Satpura Tiger Reserve, Madhya Pradesh, Hire Bankal Megalithic Site, it is in Karnataka. Next one is your Bheda Ghat, Lameta Ghat in Narmada Valley, that is also known as the Grand Canyon of India, and your Ganga Ghat, the iconic riverfront of the historic city of Varanasi, that is in Uttar Pradesh, and your Bheda Ghat, Bheda Ghat, Lameta Ghat, this is in Jabalpur district of Madhya Pradesh. So from Madhya Pradesh, 2 sites have been added. One is your Satpura Tiger Reserve and second is your Bhed Ghat, Lameta Ghat, that is in Narmada Valley, and it is located in the Jabalpur district of Madhya Pradesh. Alright, their sites were proposed by the Archaeological Survey of India. With the addition of these 6 sites, UNESCO has 48 proposals in the tentative list of India. Moving on. India has virtually hosted the 7th meeting of the BRICS Astronomy Working Group, that is BAWG. India virtually hosted the 7th BRICS Astronomy Working Group meeting of the Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa at Inter-University Center for Astronomy and Astrophysics, that is located in Pune, Maharashtra. Alright, the meeting was held under the Science, Technology and Innovation track of the BRICS 2021 calendar. From the Indian side, IUCAA, Pune and the Department of Science and Technology, that is your DST, Government of India, coordinating the meeting. SK Varshni, the scientist G&Head International Corporation, presented India's DST perspectives on highlighting research activities and research infrastructure created by India. Alright, coming back, important thing you need to remember is about India has virtually hosted the 7th meeting of BRICS Astronomy Working Group. Alright, moving on. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, now she has been changed, has released the CII Journal on the competition law and policy on the 12th founding day of CCI. What? So, who released it? It was released by Nirmala Sitharaman All right, and it was what was released by Nirmala Sitharaman. It was your CCI. CCI is your Competition Commission of India. All right, so Competition Commission of India's Journal on Competition Law and Policy was released by Nirmala Sitharaman. It was released at a virtual event. All right, that was organized to commemorate the 12th founding day of Competition Commission of India, that is your CCI. It was established under the Competition Act of 2002 on the 20th May in 2020 in 2009. She also released the competition advocacy booklets of CCI translated into Bengali, Marathi and Tamil. Moving on, next. NCPCR, that is your National Commission for Protection of Child Rights, launched Samvedana to provide psychosocial mental support for the children during COVID-19. So do remember, Samvedana is a psychosocial mental support for the children during the COVID-19, and it was launched by whom? It was launched by National Commission for Protection of Children Rights or Child Rights. Next is Supreme Court's E-Committee releases manual for its E-Court Services mobile app. Alright, the Supreme Court E-Committee has released the manual for its free E-Court Services mobile app in 14 regional languages. The manual provides explanation about the features of the app for the easy understanding of the common man. Justice Dhananjay Y. Chandrachud, who is a judge of Supreme Court of India and the chairperson of the E-Committee, has written the foreword to the manual. What are the E-Court Services mobile app? The E-Court Services mobile app is an electronic case management tool, that is ECMT, that was launched in 2019. All E-Court services are interlinked with the app. It serves as a source of information for the judicial delivery system, lawyers, litigants, police, government agencies and common citizens. Using the app, the stakeholders can get access to the complete case details such as case number, filing numbers, party names, FIR numbers, advocate details, case status and cause list. Next is your 51st edition of the virtual IHGF. IHGF stands for the Indian Handicrafts and Gift Fair, alright, of Delhi Fair 2021. So it was the 51st edition of the virtual Indian Handicrafts and Gift Fair of Delhi Fair 2021. This was organized by whom? It was organized by EPCH, that is your Export Promotion Council of Handicraft, that took place from May 19 to 23 in 2021. It is the India's largest virtual fair in the home, fashion, lifestyle, textiles and furniture sector. It was inaugurated by Ravi K. Pasi, who is the chairman of EPCH, that is your Export Promotion Council for Handicrafts. IHGF is an exclusive business-to-business online platform developed to assist buyers from across all the globe to source from India. Around 1500 manufacturers and overseas buyers from the 85 countries participated in that particular fair. Alright, next. Mohali International Hockey Stadium was renamed after Padma Shri Balbir Singh Sr. Alright, I repeat, Mohali International Hockey Stadium has been now renamed after Balbir Singh Sr. Alright, the government of Punjab has officially renamed Mohali International Hockey Stadium Sector 63 Phase 9 Mohali, Punjab after the three-time Olympic champion Padma Shri Balbir Singh Sr. Alright, remember this name must, Balbir Singh Sr. The stadium will be officially known as an Olympian Balbir Singh Sr. International Hockey Stadium. The announcement regarding the name renaming was made at the tribute ceremony that was held on 25th of May, the first death anniversary of Balbir Singh Sr. Alright, important thing, moving on then. If we look at some of the additional information, Rana Gurmeet Singh Sodhi, the Sport Minister of Punjab, has started a scholarship scheme named after Balbir Singh Sr. for the meritorious hockey players of Punjab. A statue of Balbir Singh Sr. will be installed at the entrance of the stadium. If we talk about Balbir Singh Sr., he won 3 Olympic gold medals from the Olympic Games that were held in London, Helsinki and Melbourne. He served as the vice captain of the Indian team during the Helsinki and as a captain during the Melbourne Olympic Games. He has served as the manager of the 1975 World Cup winning Indian hockey team also. Alright, so as you can see him in the picture, he is Balbir Singh Senior, and a hockey international hockey stadium has been renamed after him, and it is located in Mohali, Punjab. So friends, this was our video. I hope you enjoyed our video. If you liked our video, do hit the like button, share the link with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel or if you are new to our channel, then do subscribe because it motivates us to bring a better content for you guys. Also, if you have any trouble regarding login or payment or any other issues, then you can reach to us on our mail, that is support@affairscloud.com, or you can call us on the number 9677333862, and we'll resolve your issue as soon as possible. Also, you should go and check our courses that are available at a very reasonable price, and that will help you to boost your preparations for upcoming government exams. You can use the code Vikas10 to get a straight 10% discount on any purchase you make. All right, so that's all for the day. Take care.